And he wrote me this long, it was probably, I had printed it, probably been about 3 pages, all in capital letters, about how I was going to hell if I did not convert to Catholicism. And I was like, wait, now we're getting specific. And not just do I have to be a Christian, I have to be Catholic to be saved. But what about my Methodist friend who said I had to be Methodist to be saved? You know, and I'm thinking all of this is just really not making sense to me. It's just a bunch of people trying to force their beliefs on me. And as a result, I wrote a song. I'm just going to play a little bit. It's kind of edgy and angry, but this song is called You. So I will play one of the verses and then the chorus. So what did you mean? It would be not odd if you became Catholic to me. Obviously you are immature, and obviously you just don't see. I am not here for you to make me believe like you think I should. You need to respect me, you need to accept me. I hate to be understood. But at least, you know, I was able to get my emotions out. So we broke up, needless to say, and I continued to just kind of latch on to this anger, this idea that there's this God somewhere that just thinks that I'm a terrible person because I don't believe in him. And to me, that was almost like, why would I want to believe in a selfish God like that anyway? For just do the one thing, if I lead a perfectly good life, you know, I do all sorts of good things, and I'm kind, and I'm caring, and I'm compassionate. But the one thing that I lack is that belief, then maybe I don't want to belong to that. And that's kind of what I thought. So when I was in 10th grade, or 11th grade, in Western Lit, we studied the Bible. And we only studied the Old Testament. And that kind of just, to be completely honest, just reinforced my idea that God was angry, and God was spiteful. And I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And so I continued to reject any invitation to try to belong to a church or anything like that. And I was told, I mean, it was almost a weekly occurrence where I was told I was going to hell. So I wrote another song called I'm Already in Hell. And I'll sing one verse. And of course, again, the idea with this one, and my mom did not like this song. She's like, I don't want to think of you going to hell. And so it was just the idea that, well, since I'm here, I must make the best of it. So this one's called I'm Already in Hell. You say I'm going to hell, that I'm already there. Since you're so sure of my trip down, I'll tell you what it's like now I'm here. Down here are people who were not afraid to think. They were themselves without bread to eat, nor blood of Christ to drink. I'll tell you this one thing, oh, do not condemn anything or anyone that you cannot comprehend. Oh, here is something I'm sure you never think was true. Down here there are even holy robbers just like you. So again, not very mature, not... I look back at some of these and I'm a little embarrassed that I wrote them, but I guess that's where I was. So I continued to hold that grudge and just be angry about that sort of thing. And so I just avoided people who went to church, just avoided them. Didn't want to have anything to do with them. I still had this idea of, I mean, I knew about Jesus as why we celebrate Christmas, but nothing about in terms of the love and the compassion and the grace that he offered. So I just had this idea of this mad God that was just mad all the time, and that there was just nothing he could do about it. And as I got older, I started to really see some hypocrisy, and you could hear that in the holy roller line in there, but I was very frustrated in the hypocrisy, in the idea that somebody who went to church but wasn't necessarily kind or compassionate could get into heaven, and yet me, who did my best to try to be kind and compassionate, didn't go to church, would not get to heaven. So I wrote another song called It Won't Save You, and this one's really kind of harsh. So I'll just sing a little bit of it, the chorus and a verse. Just because I don't read your book doesn't mean I follow Satan's for me. Frankly, there's just not enough information. Do you think he'll send you to hell for being good but not believing? Do you think happens for you because you faith but you're deceiving? So have a beer and eat your wife, but you went to church, so it's alright. You think you saved well, and God knows for you, and I'll won't make up for all that you do. It won't save you. To be honest, I can't believe I'm singing these in church. But so that's the view that I had when I went to college. And even in my freshman year in college, I remember being approached by somebody else who was in the marching band. And he was a trombone player, didn't know anybody, was a freshman. And he kind of came with this group of people and sat down with me. I was eating by myself at dinner, and like he just sat down and he was like, "Where are you with God?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to be here right now." And so it was more of the same, just attack. And I just felt really, not right with it. And I was like, is it going to be like this for the rest of my life? This is pretty miserable. And then my sophomore year, I met a guy, and he was actually willing to listen to me. And he gave me the chance to talk about how I always believed in something. And I was very spiritual and just never went to church. And he listened to me. And he was the very first person who actually told me about Jesus and about the love and the compassion and the grace. And I remember being like, "Wow, that's not so bad. Like, that sounds really good." And in case you didn't guess, that guy was Dave. And it was literally that quick. That's literally all it took. It was somebody to actually listen to me. And he listened and understood. It wasn't like, "Oh, well, you were overreacting." It was, "You were hurt, I understand." And he told me about Jesus. And that spring I went to Colorado to go skiing, and it was literally, I got up like to the very top of the mountain. I felt the overwhelming power of the Holy Spirit. And I just knew that was where my life was going to go from that point on. So it was, if I looked back 10 years ago and said I was going to be giving a testimony in church, I would have said, "No, not ever going to step inside church. I'm pretty sure that lightning would strike if I did." So it's quite the journey. And I'm going to close, and I hope I have time for one more song.
Okay.
This is the first song that I wrote about God that wasn't mad. And I wrote it because of how I felt at the top of that mountain and just the overwhelming sense of peace and grace that I had.
Wondered if you were even there.
It was complicated to get here, but it was totally worth it. Thank you.